Hi, everybody. Mike Vrobel here from Royal LePage Learning Services. Just want to get this webinar started off. I'd like to give a couple minutes just to make sure that everything is up and running for you. So hopefully, your audio is up and running. You can hear me well. You don't hear an echo. If you hear an echo, sometimes that means your microphone is turned on. But everything on my end looks like it's going well. If you have an issue, in the Hangouts window, you should see a Q&A. It's a blue, actually, you should see 9 boxes on the top right. If you click on that, you'll see a little Q&A, and you can pose a question that way on the Hangout. So we're going to get started in just a moment here, but I just want to make sure everybody has a quick moment to get situated and up and running. So just give me a quick second, and making sure that everything is going well. I see the feed, everything looks good. So let's just make sure. Well, and if there is anything, I mean, like I said, open in the Hangout and you will be able to pose a question by using the little boxes at the top and clicking through to Q&A. So let me share my screen with you while we get started for this webinar. All right. So don't see any questions coming in. I'm going to assume that means that everybody's up and running and everything is working appropriately. So let's get started. Getting started with the Marketing Center. This webinar we put together really for the purposes of, people who are saying, I want to know how to use the Marketing Center to its biggest potential. Like, what can I do with it? And who can walk me through all the ins and outs? Now, I encourage you in this webinar to know that this is a recorded webinar. It's actually recorded live over YouTube. So at any moment, you could pause this webinar, you could come back, you could restart live, you could restart in the past. You can come back here tomorrow if you want to check this out again. You could come back at any time and watch this webinar because it's a recorded live YouTube session. Now, in today's webinar, what we're going to be going through is quite a bit in the Marketing Center, and I assure you this is a jam-packed hour, and there's some great information in it. The first thing I want to show you is listing data integration and how that can help you create pieces in the Marketing Center. Then we're going to go with the basic steps of getting started, updating your profile. How do you find templates? I want to show you how to create a project from scratch. I want to walk you through distributing your projects and really distribute, like, how do you send these out and what do you do with the stuff? We're going to talk a little bit about the Marketing Center's integration with Canada's anti-spam legislation, CASL, of course, adding contacts to your Marketing Center, and setting up drip marketing campaigns. I know a lot of people who come to this webinar are saying, I really want to know how to set up drip campaigns, so we can be, dripping out marketing pieces on a month-to-month basis to my contacts. So that's definitely a big part of this webinar as well. Now, I encourage you at any point, if you ever have issues with the Marketing Center, with the RLP network, with your royallepage.ca email address, or the public site royallepage.ca, give our customer care team a call. Dave, Tim, Austin, and Kwashi, they are there to help you out. That's what they're there for. Their phone number's on the screen. I assure you I will repeat it a few times throughout this webinar. So 1-877-757-4545 or help@royallepage.ca. They're open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Outside of those hours, you can leave a message, or you can send them a quick email. So definitely, if you ever have issues with any of these tools that I'm going to show you as well, I'm going to show you the Marketing Center today, feel free to give them a call. Now, in terms of the Marketing Center, it offers hundreds of professionally designed templates for you to use. Everything from your prospecting to your prospect management to your listing and buyer marketing, and all the way through to customer relationship management. I'm going to show you how we do that. We've got newsletter articles in there, newsletters that we built for you. The drip marketing functionality and the contact manager that's built into the Marketing Center are really great features. And the Marketing Center is touch friendly. So what's important with that is, let's say you are, you don't have your laptop with you. You want to work off your iPad or your Android tablet. Well, you can use the Marketing Center in that. No problem at all. So definitely, don't be afraid to use the Marketing Center in whichever tool you're going to be using. Now, the other thing with the Marketing Center is we're always innovating. Every year we develop a roadmap of projects and functionality to roll out to people. The biggest one that just came out right now are our single property websites. These allow you to create in just a few steps a fully functioning website that incorporates floor plans, community maps and links, uh, and even YouTube videos into a really nice mobile-friendly single property website. So, you know, this website will open on any device, whether that's a smartphone, a tablet, or somebody's desktop computer. So, you know, we're constantly coming out with new things for you in the Marketing Center. And it's important to, you know, go in there and even just play around a little bit, see what's going on. I always encourage people to go in there and find a way to make it work with what they're trying to do. And I'll show you what I mean by that as I get into the webinar. So without further ado, let's get signed in. So I'm here at rlpnetwork.com, of course, our gateway to everything Royal LePage. And I'm just going to put in my username and password and log myself in. Now, of course, as mentioned, if you ever have an issue with your username or password, you can call customer care. To get to the Marketing Center, I'm going to click to Marketing and Marketing Center under here. Now, the Marketing Center page is fairly straightforward. You're going to see here a big blue Launch Marketing Center button. You know, that like that. Certainly you can use that. I encourage you, though, to scroll down the page, because at the bottom of the page, you're going to see here, we have video tutorials, user guides. You can come to one of our live workshops where, you know, we always make it a point to walk into a part of the Marketing Center. And I'll show you where we can get more information on that later. And a little announcement on the Canadian anti-spam legislation. So, you know, if you are going, oh, Mike, it was too much to take in a webinar, I'd love to print out a user guide. We have them. They're there. They're sitting there waiting for you so that you can print those off and follow them step by step. Now, I could launch into Marketing Center this way, but I want to show you the other way to get in, and that's using the listing data integration tool. So what you'll notice when you have listings tied to your account, and these listings will come in from your board system. So, you know, once you enter them in the board, it should take a little bit, but they'll come into here. You'll have 3 steps to do it. Number 1, you're going to select your listing. So I'm going to pick my listing, 1280 Kelly Street. Number 2, you're going to select your template. And, you know, you can see I have templates here from postcards to feature sheets to property cards. Even a slideshow I can create in just a few clicks. So I'm going to do, for the purposes of this webinar, I'm going to do this 1-page feature sheet. If I want a preview, I click on it, and a nice little preview window will show up and show me, oh, this is the project I'm going to make. And I go, oh, yeah, that looks fantastic. So I selected my listing. I'm going to select my project by clicking on the radio button underneath it. And you'll notice now this Send to Marketing Center button has become active, and I can click on that. Now, when I launch into the Marketing Center, what you will see here is that I'm now actually right into building a project. And so I'm going to start the process right off the bat. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call this 1280 Kelly Street, and I'm going to call this feature sheet. And this is so that, you know, later on when I come back to this project, I can easily go, oh, that's my feature sheet for 1280 Kelly Street. I'm going to put it in a folder. So I'll go create new folder. And I'll call this 1280 Kelly Street. And at this point, I have so many of them that I kind of have to put the date afterwards. I confirm that, you know, this design is, okay, that is the listing that I want to use. And I do have automatically crop photos when adding or rearranging. So I'm going to leave that the way it is. I'm going to make sure this is the right listing, and I'm going to go save and continue. Now, the Marketing Center, before it creates the project, says, you know, hey, before you go and publish this and you pay, you know, money to get this printed off, or even waste your own toner and paper, please do review the data. Even though we pull that data in from your listing on you know, MLS, then it doesn't mean that you should just give it a quick double check. Now, notice real quick, additional photos are available. I don't know if you saw that pop up on the right there. But all of my photos from this listing will automatically pull in. If I wanted to, I can click and drag to rearrange them around. Pretty nice and easy. I can click this little square here to crop my image. Now, because this is a print piece, you know, I am limited to what I can crop. So, you know, I can't extend it out, because in a print piece, this picture is exactly this way. So if I were to, you know, move things around, it would mess up the whole design. So I'm going to just go crop the way it is. Now, I could remove a photo. I'll click the little garbage can underneath this to remove a photo, and then I'll go add photos here. And, you know, as you can see, additional project photos are available here. So I'll click on that. And here are the listing photos that it pulled in. And as you can see, there's more photos in here than were added into the template. So this bedroom I don't think was added. I click on that and I go add selected. And now that bedroom photo has been added in. Just double check that the crop is, oh yeah, it is nicely cropped. So even here, I kind of noticed this photo, the crop is kind of vertical, and this one's, maybe I'll switch these two actually. Let me do that. Let me do this around there. There you go. And that way it works a little bit better for me. There you go. There you go. Perfect. Now you can see a little bit more of that living room, and I definitely want them to see the fireplace. So now I'm getting there we go. Now, what you'll notice here on the left side is you can always do a preview of your project. So at the top left, there's a preview button. I'm going to click preview. Take a second, and it'll show you how things are coming along. So there you go. You see that bedroom that I just put in and cropped, that living room that I got. You're looking at this going, Mike, where's it getting this $7 million price tag? I don't deal with the small listings here. We're going big or going home, right? So, I price them high, and then reduce later. But no, in all seriousness, this came in from the listing data. So all of these details are automatically being added from my listing data. But right now, I'm just looking at the photos and seeing, do they look okay? Do they look, I kind of would like to switch those two, but maybe I'll hold off. Let's see. Oh, no, I don't want to swap it out. I'm gonna go save and continue. That's fine. I'll let it go for now. So maybe I realize my list price is wrong. So, hey, I'll fix that. You now have the option to go through and, make sure all the information is correct. I always encourage you, the way it's written here, so, if it's that, the way it's written, if it's all in caps, it's going to be all in caps in your final project. So do keep that in mind, because, if you aren't the kind of person who likes all caps and those kind of things, then, it will take a little bit of work to fix things up. But you can do that. And on the left side, I want you to notice here also, you get a little preview of the layout of the project. And there's this little blue button, View Layout. Now, the View Layout button is really your legend for how everything is in here. So you see list price and where all the details will show up and the remarks and all that stuff. And notice this one here, Your Value Statement is what I do. So you have the option on this project to set a specific value statement. Now, by default, we're giving you finding your perfect home. But, some people, maybe they work in downtown cores and they say, hey, I deal more with condos. Well, maybe I'll go finding your perfect condo. So you have an option here to really customize it. Everything in this project is customizable. Even you'll see details label. Some people like features instead of details, or remarks. Maybe they, they put it there. You can go through and customize each one, like so even here, bedrooms with a bracket. Maybe I'll just put bedrooms and bathrooms because it's got 4 and 3, so we can just put those in there. So you really just go through, fix things up. I don't like that either. Add in some details if there's stuff missing, the remarks label, and I can type in whatever I want, and a website / a call to action. So here I have royallepage.ca by default, but let's say I had 1280kelly.com or mikevrobel.ca / 1280kelly, or some website where I could say, hey, go here for more information. So I could do that there. Finally, I have my agent information. Now here, I'm just really confirming the information is correct, making sure it's accurate. I'm going to show you in a second where we go to update these. So I'll go save and continue. Here's my project. The really great thing with the Marketing Center is that every project you create in the Marketing Center is the exact same. So, this is the process for creating a feature sheet. It's the same process if I wanted to create that single property website or a multimedia slideshow, or a postcard, or a feature sheet. It's always the same process. So if you can build one project in the Marketing Center, you can really build them all. So it's really nice and simple that way. Let me click a quick preview here so you can see the project. And again, as mentioned, we always recommend do a quick preview, make sure it looks okay. And I'll see here, notice the finding your perfect condo has been put in. My price, my price has been adjusted to be more realistic here for, I made a mistake maybe when I put it in. Now I'm going to go back to my board system and edit it there as well, because that's pulling from there. But, I can give a quick look and make sure everything's right. And notice that, that URL at the bottom is set up. So what am I going to do with this? Well, I could publish it. I could email it. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment, but let's say this right now, it's a feature sheet. I want to save a copy of it and get it printed. So I'm going to click download PDF, and I'm going to go standard PDF and download that. And I'll get a link up here. When I click on that, it opens in a new window. And I now have the option to save that at the bottom right of the screen. I hope you can see there's a little, little disk to save it. So, we had to do it this way because on an iPad, you can't right-click and save. So, this is the easier way to do it. And this way you can do it on any tablet or computer. You can save this high-quality PDF. Then I would go and print this off at the office, and boom, there's my feature sheet. I mean, that took 10 minutes, and I explained the whole thing. So let me close that. Let me go back here. So I'll go click on back to go to my project. So here's my project page. Now you'll notice always my projects on the top left here. And that's how I would go back to it. There's my 1280 Kelly Street feature sheet. My folder's down here. So that 1280 Kelly folder is here. And, I'd put in my feature sheet, my postcard, my slideshow, and all of those projects, my single property website, all in this folder. So that way I can really easily come back to this. So that's the listing data integration tool. Now I do want to show you really start to finish getting your profile all set up and how we go about creating a project if we wanted to start a project from scratch. Let me log into another of our test accounts that we have. And this one's not set up at all. In fact, I've never been in the Marketing Center in this one. So I'm going to go Marketing and Marketing Center. And let's give it a second here. See if it's going to show up for us. Because I've never been into it, it's possible that it's causing me an error. Let me try another one. It's always when you do it live. There we go, Marketing Center. Let's see. It's very unhappy with me right now. Just stick to what you already know, Mike. These are not real accounts, so that's probably why they're not showing up, actually. All right, I'll go back into my test agent account then. Sorry about that. Worked last time, but I was using another account, and now that one's been set up. So, oh well, we'll go back into it. That's okay. Go back, Marketing Center. I'll click Launch Marketing Center here. Let me walk you through as if this was new then. So the first thing you should do when you log into the Marketing Center, and you'll see you get this nice page and you see all your details, is go in and check your profile. So I'm going to click on the name on the top right and click on Profile. Now, the reason for this is because every time you build a project, as you just saw, the last step is checking your profile and making sure that it's right. So you should check your profile and make sure that all this information is correct. And that way, when you come to the end of the project, you really won't have anything to do is just kind of look and go, yeah, is that the stuff I want? Perfect. So let's go in here and let's clean this up a little bit. Now, as mentioned, the way it's written here is exactly the way it's going to show up. So any capital letters, any brackets, dashes, hyphens, all of that stuff, if I want it to show up, I'm going to put it in here. Now, some people have asked, oh, can I reorganize the phone numbers? Like, I don't want my office phone number first. Well, yeah, of course, you have full control. So, let's remove that one and we'll put it there and that one back. It was 888-9999. And then I'll go here and, this is going to be cell. And this one I'm going to grab from the list, and I'm going to go Office. So you, again, have full control. Now, your website address, of course, hopefully you have a website. So we'll do testagent.ca because right now that's the name. An email address, if I had, this is going to default to your account's email, but let's say I had like an info@testagent.ca. And I want that on my marketing pieces. So keep in mind, you have full control over this because this profile is what will actually show up on your marketing pieces. Now for your photo, let me remove that and I'll go click to upload. And I'm going to go here to my webinar files and pull up my realtor image. That's not me, but I'll take the credit for it anyways. I'm going to upload that image. put it in there and click on crop. You notice there's a little crop button just as it was in the photos, and the little trash button if you want to remove that photo as well. So, you're going to upload your image into the Marketing Center as well. Once you make all those changes, you're going to click on Save at the bottom right now. I don't want to do that right now because I want this to go back to the way it was, but normally I would click Save and I would get a green confirmation message. Let's do that. We'll do that under Business Info. Business Info is the second tab on the left, and this is your office, your brokerage information. So again, the way it's in here is exactly the way it's going to show up. So these dashes and spaces and all that stuff, if I don't want them there, then I should remove them. I'm going to add brokerage because I'm in Ontario, and in Ontario we have to add brokerage to the end of the office name. And here I'll click Save on this one. You'll see a green success message that pops up near the top. There you go. And notice even the logo as well. A number of our projects allow you to have your own brokerage logo. So you'll see you can either pick the Royal LePage one or your brokerage's logo that will already be loaded in. The third option is account settings. Now under account settings, a couple things to look at. Number one, use a bit.ly short URL when sharing projects. If you are used to Twitter, you know you need a really, really short URL when you're sharing something. A URL is the website address. So I've put this to yes, and I'll show you what that means when I put a project on the web. Next, time zone. So I'm going to set my time zone to America, Toronto. That's where I am. You can also pick, I think there's a Canada Eastern for me, and depending on where you are, you'll put your time zone. The language by default, my recommendation to you is set it to English, because that way you won't see all of the French, all of the bilingual projects in the Marketing Center. Now, if you are bilingual, even at that, I don't necessarily recommend it because bilingual will only show you bilingual projects. So you have a very, very small selection. But you can always come in here and change it if you need to, and you can always turn it off actually when you're into the project. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the send email only to recipients who have given consent. As you know, July 1st, 2014, the Canadian anti-spam legislation came into effect, and we have 3 years to become compliant to it. So right now I've set this to no because nobody in my contact book has given me consent to send them an email. So as such, I'm saying, okay, I can still send them emails. But as I collect consent from people, I should eventually get to the point where I'm going to switch this to yes and say only if they've given consent do I want to be able to email them. So I'm going to click on Save. And I'll show you how we collect consent as well after I build this project. So success, my profile has been updated. Fantastic. So now with my profile update, let's go and have a look at how I can create a project. Now there's a number of ways to get to it, but I like going through designs. And here I'll see my most recently used project. So you can see I just built that one and saying, hey, this is a project you recently used. Do you want to do it again? I can see the popular projects. So if you want to know what other people in Royal LePage are using, you can come in popular and see that. And then featured are the templates we tell the Marketing Center, and we say, hey, put these as featured. These are usually like our newest designs or those kind of things. Below that, you'll notice really here under product and task are the two big ones. So product is like if I'm looking for a business card or a door hanger, a web ad, a postcard. Task is if I'm looking to do something. So I'm coming in here saying, I want some pieces for social media or recruiting or open houses. I can look and see what kind of pieces they have for that. So I'm going to go into product, and I'm going to select a feature sheet. So let's look at the same kind of project that we did before. Now you'll notice these drop-down options up here as well. So here I can kind of go and go, okay, let's see, and we're going to go pages, and I want a one-page feature sheet. So here are all the one-page feature sheets we have in the Marketing Center. Now I can click on one to get a preview of it. Let's have a look at this. Get a little preview. I can click on the blue link to get a bigger sample as well. But that's fine. I'll go, well, I can also, by the way, when I hover my mouse over it, if you noticed, there's a little star that shows up. And if I click that star, this project will go into my favorite list under designs. So let's do that. Let's star this. And then under designs, under favorites, it's going to be found underneath there, right there. And then I can just create it right from here. So let's give this a name. I don't want to add listing data information. So I'm going to call this 123 Webinar Street. Project description, I can put that in if I want, but that's really just for me. I don't really need to put a project description if I don't want to. I'm going to go create new folder, and I'm going to call it Webinar Street. Now, as mentioned before, I'm going to add feature sheet on here. So that way I know, okay, this is my 123 Webinar Street feature sheet located in my 123 Webinar Street folder, and I can easily get it back. I'll go save and continue. The first page, just as you saw before, is photos. So you'll see I have spaces for 7 photos in this project. If I click here on view layout, let's see, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see exactly where they show up. And I'm going to go add photos. Now from the add photos, you can see I have stock photos I could choose from. So if I'm doing something like a newsletter and I need some photos for an article that I have, I could use that. I could pull them in from Dropbox. I can actually even upload photos into the Marketing Center separately, and photos from other projects as well. But for now, typically what you'll do is you'd go My Computer, and you're going to go Select Files to Upload. And let's pull up, I got a couple sample photos. I'm going to pull a large one of that one. Let's do this. Let's grab a couple. There we go. Click on Open. The photos will upload, and they will place themselves in my project in the order in which I've uploaded them. So this is, again, real simple. Even if you're not using that listing data integration tool and you're going, I'm just going to build it from scratch, you see it's pretty nice and quick and simple to get those photos in. And that's one of the, the biggest hurdles sometimes to getting these projects going. Now I've only uploaded 6 photos, so my 7th photo space is blank. I'll show you what that does. But notice right now I'm getting this quality alert on this first image. I didn't pick a really nice high quality image, so I'm going to, get rid of that. I'll click on the plus here, and I'm going to go and upload a higher quality version of that. It'll take a little bit longer, but that's what those warnings are for. So you can see, ooh, the quality of that image just isn't good enough for my print piece. And when I print a nice marketing piece, I want it to look great. So I'm going to re-upload this image. There we go. Now I don't get a warning anymore. So notice this photo 7 has been left blank. Let's do a preview of this project. And we are going to see here that that 7th photo has just become a blank space. So keep that in mind always. If you leave it blank, it'll just stay blank. In fact, let's say I get rid of that one. Maybe I'm going to tack my business card on there, put it over here or something like that. I could do that kind of thing. Of course, knowing that my agent contact information is here as well. But anyways, I'll go save and continue. The next page is text. Now, just as before, I can always click on view layout and see headline 1, headline 2, headline 3, and where the bullet points. So we're going to put the address here, 123 Webinar Street. That was the second biggest. I can see it here. And under headline 1, I'm looking for something, but maybe it's Monday morning and I'm really tired. I'm going, I haven't had a coffee. I need some inspiration. So you'll notice beside every text box, there's this little page, paper and pen, and that's for the phrase assistant. Now the phrase assistant has some generic phrases for you to choose from. There's all kinds in there. Some of them are better than others. A lot for a little. I'll click on that. I see I have 11 characters remaining. Looks good. I'll click insert and close. Now I really find this is a better place for inspiration rather than anything. And again, remember that all those capital letters are going to be capital. So maybe I don't like all of this capital. Now under headline 3, as I type this out, you'll notice my characters remaining get lower and lower. And when I hit the limit, I can't type anymore. Maybe you can hear that. And my text has become red. So it's important to keep your character limits in mind as you're typing stuff in there. Now bullet points, let's just fill these out real quick. 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, just to show you how this works out. And save and continue. Now the last page, as you know, I did an update to my profile. And so all this information, I should just be confirming it. Now, because I didn't hit save, bad Mike, should have hit save, right? I have to go in and make all these modifications. But if you're seeing wrong stuff on this page, it's really in your profile that you want to be adjusting that. Now, this project has a space for another agent, so I'm going to click to upload their photo. get their photo. I'm just going to crop it there. And we'll call that test agent 2. Now, if you don't work with a second agent, don't worry about it. Just leave them blank, and just like the photo, they'll be removed. Let's preview this project, have a look at what it looks like. So there's my project. Notice that because I left some of the bullet points blank, even those have been removed. I'm leaving things a little bit white space here. So I don't know, maybe I'd like to fill that out a little bit more, but you can really see what this looks like. Now again, I could download the PDF here. If I realize I made a mistake, notice there is preview edit. So I could go back into this project, click on edit, go to any step I want, and make the modifications. Maybe I realize I will have a bullet 4. And just step my way through the rest of the project. I can duplicate this project. So let's say, I want to make a copy of it. Because what I'd like to do is duplicate this. And then under the text, maybe go here and make myself a little just sold feature sheet. So, duplicate's actually quite a nice little feature. So now I have, let's preview that. And there you go, just sold in your area. And you know what? I could click on move and move this to, let's say I have a prospecting folder or something like that I had created, and when I put all my prospecting pieces in it, then I can go and get those. Now, I showed you how to download the PDF. Let's talk about the other two, publish to web and email contacts. Publish to web will share this project openly on the internet. Now I'm going to go here, publish to web, the image, and publish it as a web page. So I'm just picking the size and saying publish as web page. And it's going to give me a link to this project. What I would do with this link is copy that link, just select it all, right click, copy. And I would paste that link on my website, for instance, so that people could go and check out the feature sheet of this listing. I would attach it to my listing on MLS as long as my board permits me to do that, because it is a branded piece, and say, hey, click here to see the feature sheet, right? Let's open that up. So there's that. There's the piece just as it is in a website. So that's really what you're going to do with this URL. I'd even, I would send it to the client. I'd say, hey, have a look. Here's something you could share with your contacts or your friends and show them the feature sheet for your project, right? Or for your listing, for your house even, sorry. We go, okay. Now, when you do that, under links and tools, you'll notice you have now web pages there. So I've created it. I can get the link again under links and tools to that web address. I can see the stats even, so I can see how many people are clicking on that feature sheet and looking at it. And I can even get a little QR code for it. So if QR codes are a thing that I'm doing, then I could grab this little QR code and, at my open house, say, do a save the environment scan here for a digital copy of this marketing piece. Now, of course, I can always also remove it or unhost this project as well. So once the listing's sold, I'm going to unhost this project. That way it is no longer, available online. I can email this to my contacts. Now, email, I have two options. There's self-send. If I do self-send, it will email this project to myself, and then I can forward it to my email contacts. If I use ROI Pro, I'll be able to enter email addresses or use my contact database built into the Marketing Center to send out pieces to people. Now, as you remembered, we set in our profile, we set that, that time zone. So that's going to help me with my scheduled delivery. Because if I wanted to in the Marketing Center, I could change when things get delivered. Let's say I wanted to go out on Friday. I mean, great example, right? Friday at 2 p.m. And, say upcoming open house in the subject line. I'd email that out to my contacts. And so then, whenever I build it in the week, I could go, hey, on Friday at 2 o'clock, this little feature sheet's going to go out and say, hey, here's upcoming, upcoming open house. I could even use this project and build multiple listings and, even use the bullet points to say, these are the addresses with open houses. Send that out on a Friday because I can build it anytime in the week. So even though that email is going out on Friday, I'm free to, be at the lawyers or the bank and getting all my stuff set up for the weekend. Now, this also sends directly from your email address. So anybody who replies, it's going to come back to you as well. So keep that in mind too. I just go, this, I do that. I have to add a contact. Let's do learning services at royallepage.ca. I'll click on next. The size, just like I did before, click on next, and it's going to confirm it and pretty much say, hey, do you want to send it? I'll do a preview real quick. It's just going to show me that project, give me one last chance to read it over and realize that I don't have enough information. But if I were to send that out, then it would send out, and it will actually track who opened it, who didn't get it, and all of that information right there. Now, that's a little bit on building projects. And as I mentioned, any project in the Marketing Center, whether you're building a 4-page feature sheet, whether you're building a 1-page feature sheet, a double-sided postcard, jumbo postcard, whatever it is, it's the exact same 4 steps. In fact, well, let's do it. You know what? I'm going to go designs here one more time. Let's go down. I'm going to do, let's say, a slideshow. I'm going to pick this mobile slideshow because, I want to make sure that anybody on any device can do it and can view this slideshow. So let's do that. Let's do 123 webinar street slideshow. And I'm going to put that in the same folder. I don't want to pull in my listing data right now. Save and continue. And watch. Now, because I've already uploaded my photos, I'm just going to go add photos. And instead of going to my computer, I'm going to go to project photos. And here are all those photos that I just uploaded. And I don't need that one, but that's okay. I'll go fill project, unselect that one, and go add selected. And all those photos will come in. Our slideshows can have up to, well, this one can have 20. Some of them have up to 30. Some of them have 50 photos in them. So keep that in mind. I'll go save and continue. Go through the same thing, property address, 123 Webinar Street, keeping in mind that if I was doing this with listing data integration, then, this stuff would come in automatically. Now I have way more options here because I do have like Twitter, Facebook. I can add all of that stuff into this digital marketing piece. But I can even say yes or no to, I don't want to hide that link. I want people to be able to share this if they want to. I'm going to go save and continue. Agent information, again, if it's up to date, it's up to date. I'll click save and continue. And there's my piece. And it's ready to go. All I need to do is click publish to web. And let's have a look at what it looks like. Why not? Now notice you do have publish to web and publish unbranded. Our slideshows do give you the option to publish an unbranded version of that. And that is important for places where they say, on listings on MLS or on realtor.ca, you can't have, a Royal LePage logo. So you do have that option there. Now this one, if you noticed, had a little mobile tag on it. And what that means is that, let's say I'm on my telephone, so my screen is a little bit more vertical. Notice, everything has changed. So again, this project is going to work across all devices, across desktop computers, across tablets, smartphones, and everything. So where I take this link and share it, if it's on realtor.ca, if it's on my website, doesn't matter how people get there. Once they're there, they'll be able to view this project. And that's a great, QR code. If you're going to use a QR code, it better be optimized for mobile. So let's get into the other side of this. And that is the contacts and drip campaigns. So now that we've really gone through everything about building a project, we've built 3 projects together. I think, if I was live in front of you guys would be looking at me going like, yeah, Mike, we get it. We're good. We can keep moving. So let's get into importing contacts and using the drip campaigns. Now I am going to go crazy here. I'm going to delete all my contacts in the Marketing Center because I want to have this completely blank so you can really get a sense for what this looks like. So here we go. No contacts. Now I'd have to, all these groups. I wonder if I can delete all these groups. Delete all groups. There we go. Just going to wipe it clean. So there we go. I have no contacts, no groups in the Marketing Center now. First thing I can do is I can click on Create New Contact. And, I can put in, there you go, first name, last name, email address, phone number, 877-757-4545. Not a problem. I'll click on Save. I've successfully created a new contact. Would I like to add them to a group? No, I'm not going to do that right now. And there's my contact. And if I go back to Manage Contacts here, there they are. There I am in that list. currently part of 0 groups. But you're probably coming from some system, maybe Gmail, maybe Outlook, maybe something else, and you're saying, I want to import a database of contacts. So how do I do that? On the left, you'll notice I have an option for import contacts. So I'll click on that. Now, the first step is putting them into a group. And, at this point, I will remind you that this webinar is being recorded. So, maybe when you're doing this, you're going to go and come back here and look and go, okay, right, what was Mike mentioning? I recommend you import like section by section. So I would import my, buyers, my sellers, my A+ clients, my my B clients, all that. I try to do it kind of separately because that way, I have really nice control over things. But I'm going to put this as the buyers group. I'll click on next. Next, I get the choice to pick what kind of import I'm doing. Now, notice I could import right from Gmail if I wanted to. It's that simple. It will open up a new window in Gmail and ask me to access my contacts, and it'll import them in. Typically, you're probably talking about importing them from an Excel file. So I'll click on that, and I have a sample Excel file that I created. And that sample Excel file, let me actually open it up, just show it to you real quick. It's a pretty basic one, but all it is really the first name, last name, email, and phone number is all I'm importing in. So this is what that Excel sheet looks like. And what it's done now is it's brought those people in. Notice it has mapped my field. So it's saying, first name, last name, email, phone. So I can make sure all of these are right. And then it's asking me, is this a contact? And I'm looking at that going, first name, no, that is not. So I'll check off no. I'll click on next. Now, the Marketing Center will say 5 new contacts will be created, 0 existing contacts will be updated. The Marketing Center uses the email address of the contact to determine whether or not it's a duplicate and it should just be updated, or whether or not they should create a brand new contact. So what's nice about that is, every month you could just upload your database in the Marketing Center and it will never create duplicates for you. It'll just update the people who need to be updated. So I'll click on next. It's going to say, great, 5 new contacts were created, and there are my 5 contacts. They're now in my group called buyers. Now, what about Canadian anti-spam legislation, Mike? You had mentioned that you were going to talk about that. In the Marketing Center, you can request consent from people. So let's say I check all these people's names off, and I go Actions, Request Consent by Email. It says you're about to send an email to 6 contacts to request consent. Are you sure? I can go send or preview. Let's preview it. It's going to send an email saying, hello, the person's first name. They use John as an example. Keeping in touch with you is important to me, and I trust also of value to you. My goal is to provide you with meaningful information, yada, yada, yada. Stay in touch. Once they click stay in touch, it will have registered that they have provided consent to us. So I could click on send, and it would send them out to those people. Now, at the same time, let's say Mike Jones here. He's, we were having a conversation, and I said, hey, Mike, I get this great e-newsletter that I send out. Do you give me consent to send that out to you? And Mike says, yeah, of course, I would love to receive that. So I'm going to track that consent down here by clicking on Show Advanced Options. I'm going to go Request Consent. And I could send him out the same email, but I'm going to go manually enter consent. And in person, we go right at his house, and this never expires. And we go save consent. And now under his consent history, they'll say, consented on this date, explicit, that never expires, and the note. So that way, if ever I had any issues, I could always come back here and go, well, Mike Jones gave me consent. Now, keep in mind, the Marketing Center does always give the person the option to unsubscribe as well when we send emails from the Marketing Center. Now, if I go back to Manage Contacts at the top, I can see them all, right? How do I know who's given me consent? Well, under this View All here, I can go with consent and without. So let's see, with consent, there's Mike Jones. He gave me consent. Without consent, I can see everybody else is still waiting. I'm still waiting. So I'll go here, I'd go Actions, and I'd go Request Consent by email one more time. So that way, hey, come on, fill this out. So as you can see, the Marketing Center is really fully CASL compliant, Canadian anti-spam legislation compliant, which is, a very important thing for any marketing tool you're going to be using going forward. Now, in terms of that, what I really want to do here is I want to create a drip campaign to send pieces out to these people. So let's click over to the last tab that we're going to look at today, and that's campaigns. Now, the campaigns in the Marketing Center are, you could build them from scratch, but most people use these pre-built campaigns. We have two types of campaigns: timing specific and date specific. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's have a look here at this Client for Life campaign. And I do encourage you, notice, by the way, that French and English are intermixed here. Even though I set my language preference to English, the campaigns, they're not tagged as being French or English. So we show them all. So I'm going to go here for Client for Life. And what this campaign does is it sends out pieces on a date-specific basis. So here on January 1st, we were sending out a piece on home decor on window treatments. The reason we do that is because, for instance, here, February 1st, we're sending some home maintenance tips on the spring. I want to have confidence that that's going to go out before the springtime and not in the middle of the summer. And then people are going to go, Mike, why are you sending me this stuff? This is completely irrelevant. So that's why this is a date-specific campaign. On this date, send this piece. After that date, don't send it anymore. The other campaign is timing specific. So for instance here, I have a buyer 30-day campaign. And what you'll see on these campaigns is every piece has a number of days after contact is added. So see here, 1 day after contact is added. This is for buyers. Send them information about financing. 6 days after contact is added. This is, again, for buyers. So send them some information on identifying their needs and wants. So as this campaign runs, as I add contacts to this campaign, they're going to start off on day 1. So to create the campaign, I'll go select campaign. Campaign is selected. I'm going to give it a name. Let's see. I might have already created one of these. Yeah, I did. So I'm going to have to do this. September 23rd. 30 days. And it will create this campaign for me. Now, the neat thing with these campaigns, I never have to recreate this again. It'll take a little bit because it's creating all those pieces. But, the Marketing Center, as I add people to this campaign and remove them, they'll start off on day 1. And they'll go through the process. So you'll see here at the bottom, I have all my events set up. And I can turn them on or off if there's something I really didn't want to send. And then after my events, notice there's this little reminder to call. So 1 day after I add somebody to the campaign, they're going to get this piece on financing. On day 2, I am going to receive an email telling me you just sent this piece to these people, listing everybody I sent it to, their email address and phone number. And so that way I can easily follow up with them and say, hey, hey, Jim, yesterday I sent you some information on financing. Did you have a look at that email? And if I really wanted to, I could log into the Marketing Center first and see whether or not they had opened it. And then say, I saw you open it. Do you have any questions? Just want to make sure you're feeling really comfortable about financing as we move through this process of buying your dream home or condo. So that's what's really neat with the campaigns too, is we always have these pieces that go out, and then we have reminders to you to do some follow-up with them. Now let's add some contacts to this. So you'll see here there's a big hey, Mike, you need to add some contacts to this campaign. So I'm going to go Manage Contacts and click on the blue contacts up here to go to my contact book. And notice I could either add individual contacts or even whole groups. So I'm going to add in these guys, John Doe, Mike Jones, May Lee. Click Select and save on that. And those 4 people have been added to my campaign. Now, those 4 people tomorrow will get the financing piece. Now, let's say a month from now, I go by, I have another open house, and I meet somebody else. So I'm going to go up here in Contacts, and I meet Mike. And I'm going to go, hey, I'll add you to my campaign. Now, even though I'm adding Mike today, John Doe, May Lee, Mike Jones, and Emma Smith will be wherever they are in the campaign. So all I need to do to keep this going is just keep adding contacts. And as I add contacts, those new contacts will start on day 1. So never think that you have to recreate this campaign or build another one. Once you've created this once, you're good to go. Now, when I click Start, the campaign would actually start, and then that way tomorrow, these people would get that email. And I'll start getting a campaign history. Just like in the emails that I send out from the Marketing Center, it'll track who opens it, who hasn't opened it, any bounces where the email address was invalid, or anytime it gets blocked by a spam filter. I can even export this history. It would give me an Excel file of the history. Now let's go back. We'll build one more campaign for us, and that is going to be the Client for Life campaign. Now the Client for Life campaign is, actually we're going to build two more, is a date-specific campaign. You can see it here under campaign type, which means that it's going to send out pieces on a specified date. Now, same thing if you notice, I have an email that goes out and then a reminder that comes to me. So I always know what's going out and what's coming to me. And my recommendation is even to add your own name to this email list, so that way you get the piece too, and you can have a quick look at it yourself too before you start making these phone calls. Here are all my pieces. Now notice some of them have little check boxes beside them. That's because this is a date-specific campaign. So this fall piece has already gone out August 1st. In the heat of summer, we're reminding people that, hey, fall is coming. And it's true. You got to give them some time to read the content and then go, oh, right, I need to clean out my gutters for the winter. Speaking of which, I do need to clean out my gutters for the winter. Now I'm going to go manage contacts. I would go up contacts. In this case, maybe I'll just add my group, select, save that, and then I would hit start, and this campaign would be up and running. And I would expect, end of November, early December, we're going to be creating Client for Life 2016. So watch for that for sure. Now under campaigns here, I'm going to create one more, and that's the e-newsletter campaign. The reason for that is because the e-newsletter, which is also a date-specific campaign, let's see here, fills in some of the gaps for that Client for Life. So Client for Life had only 8 events. And for instance, on December 1st, there's no event that goes out. And that's because on December 1st, we're sending out the newsletter. Now, we at Royal LePage prepare a newsletter for you based on the house price survey information, as well as 2 articles on home decor, home renovation, or home maintenance we pull. This is automatically created for you. So this winter edition e-newsletter will be created, customized, have your photo and information added to it, and then sent out to your people on the campaign. 10 days prior to it going out, though, you will receive an email saying, hey, did you want to modify this project at all? So if I wanted to, I could go here and edit the project, and I could add in a little introduction, a conclusion, and a featured listing. So the introduction is a great opportunity for me to talk about, hyper-local market conditions. The house price survey talks about Vancouver in general. Well, what about North Van? What about West Van? What about, Richmond? All of these little, even, if you want to get into the neighborhoods, right? Starting to talk about these different neighborhoods and their stats and how they're going. So you do have an option to come in here and edit this before it goes out. I'd click on start, and then my campaign would be running. And the idea is really the e-newsletter goes out on a quarterly basis, and then the Client for Life campaign fills all of the gaps. So I would add all of my contacts to e-newsletter, and then only certain contacts that I want to make a monthly touch point with, would I add them to my Client for Life campaign. So where do we sit right now? At this point, we've talked about the My Projects tab. My Projects is where you can see all the projects you've created, and all your project folders. The Designs tab is where you can find new projects to create and build, either by looking at the recent ones, the popular ones, or here by product, task, and occasion. The Campaigns tab is your drip marketing campaign tab. So here's where you can build that e-newsletter, that Client for Life, those buyer and seller campaigns. And I recommend you should have all 4 of those set up and ready to go, because again, they're sitting there waiting for you to use. Remember, they're CASO compliant, so if anybody wants to unsubscribe, they're going to have all of those options as well. And realistically, end November, early December, we're probably going to send out an email saying, hey, you should probably create your Client for Life 2016 campaign so that you're ready to go for that. And of course, contacts, your contact manager book, where you can group and manage your contacts within the Marketing Center for use in your projects. So where do we sit in terms of all of this? Is to say that at this point, we've gone through all of these steps, looking at listing data integration, to creating projects, to distributing them, adding contacts, and the drip campaigns. I want to remind you, customer care is there. Any help you need with the Marketing Center, RLP Network, RoyalPage.ca, email, RoyalPage.ca. Dave, Tim, Austin, and Kwashi are there. 1-877-757-4545 or help@RoyalPage.ca. I'd also like to personally invite all of you to visit RoyalPage.ca/training, or in the RLP network under training, you'll find our realtor marketing workshops. If you want to get hands-on with the Marketing Center and other Royal LePage tools, then our marketing workshop travels the country. Oh, I'm not putting it. Our marketing workshop travels the country, and we do live hands-on training for you. So if you go to royallepage.ca/training, on the left side, you're going to see all of the provinces. You click into your province, and you will see when we are coming there, and you can register for the sessions. Now, we are focused this season on search engine optimization, helping you understand all the intricacies of, how do you get your website ranked higher. But of course, we also talk about the Marketing Center and get in there as well. And we're going to actually walk you through building a single property website while we're at it. So with that said, I invite you to, if you have any questions, you can, in the Hangout, click on the little boxes at the top and click a little Q&A. You should have the option to ask any questions. At the same time, if any questions come between now and whenever you're building this piece in the Marketing Center, I invite you to come back, check out this webinar. Again, it's pre-recorded, it's ready to go. And you can always call customer care as well, should you want to do that or need to do that. So I'm just going to wait a little moment and see if we have any questions coming in. I'm going to check the YouTube feed as well. Make sure that there's no questions coming in. Let's stop my screen share there. Now, if you do have a question, as mentioned, it should be on the top right of the screen. And, you can just put that in, and it'll pop up for me. So I'm going to give it a couple moments, just see if any questions. And if not, if this is, if you're moving on with your day, I wish you a wonderful day. I hope you have a really nice fall, and we'll hopefully see you at one of our live sessions, or join us on another webinar. Just waiting to see if we got questions. Let's see here. All right. Put my glasses back on so I can read the questions. So none coming in. Looks good. Again, help@royallepage.ca if you're in the process of typing out that question, I'm not getting to it, or give customer care a call. I'll flash that number back on the screen one more time for you. And I don't see any questions coming in. Let me just double check one last time. No, it looks good. So thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for your time. Certainly I invite you, go check out the Marketing Center. Go try to do some of the stuff that I did today. And if you have questions, customer care is there. More than happy to help you out. Have a great day.